Alison's Conviction by Thomas Keneally. From A Point in Time Collection, a collection of Amazon original stories, performed by Tamala Shelton. Alison Strange was a clever girl, of whom it was known by her mother, her grandfather, and her teachers that she could not face tests of knowledge. Her mother had been told by psychologists that she would never go to university, because the business of analysing what lectures and tutors meant by their instructions would utterly panic and exhaust her, and basically send her into fits of Tourette's, into writhings and repeated meaningless sounds like begging. Tourette's was frequently found in autism cases, a doctor had said. Alison could learn anything if she was interested, but not under any demand that she should know it. She was self-taught, therefore, and her own motivation to know things was the only but powerful machine for her learning. She had, on her own terms, been to the University of Google, just for a start. She had an account that enabled her to read journal articles of all kinds, and randomly. When she was in early high school, and the question of convicts arose, she raised her hand and told a teacher, Miss Lambros, that she had a convict ancestor. And she had a date for him too. His ship had arrived in 1821. It was the sort of thing that she retained. And his crime was, according to Granrob, stealing shoes. The first Mr. Strange, a convict and shoe thief, settled in Bathurst and opened a shop and a tannery like any settler, and became a constable. Alison's chief enemy, Blair Taranto, a beefy child capable of marshalling the laughter of an entire class, had intruded into this conversation, as Alison knew he very likely would. When Miss Lambros first asked what Alison's forebear had been transported for, Alison heard Taranto say, breathy with self-amusement, for being a dead-set dropkick. Taranto is not the main issue of this tale, but when she had given a book report at Assembly on Norton Juster's The Phantom Toll Booth, he had tried to put her off by contorting his face and jerking an imitation of one of her attacks, as people called them. Because of that boy and his easily set-off admirers, she accepted that the world would choose to be as unkind to her as Taranto was. She had in her keeping, though, and held close by her, the essential elements and people, particularly her mother, Sally Strange, and her grandfather Granrob, as she had eccentrically named him when she was a babe. "Typical of you as a baby, Allie," he had once said when drinking wine, when he would often tell stories of her infancy and how different she was from what he called plain kids. "Only you would have come up with that combination of sounds and made a poor sod like me get a special name. I mean, it's not two easy sounds for a little kid to put together." He seemed very proud of her for having managed that, and his warm opinion of her made her think that the Blair Tarantos of her life, as much as they would always be with her, were always somehow wrong, and in a strange sort of way, she was willing to endure them. Granrob had been a history teacher most of his life at St. Finbarr's, the school that used to be all Christian brothers when he was a kid and went there, but was now all what Granrob called ordinary people. Granrob had enjoyed teaching and was a publishing member of the Bathurst Historical Society. He said history teachers were able to influence kids who had an imagination. You never stated a particular figure by mere names and dates. You talked about the historical figure from the point of view of personal oddity or cultural nuance. For example, Governor Philip and Bennelong, who lived where the Opera House is, exchanged names, and to Bennelong, this was like exchanging souls. So when an Aboriginal punisher came from Palm Beach way to put a spear in Philip's shoulder, Bennelong thought that because he possessed Philip's name, he too had to go through survival rituals so that Philip would be okay.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.